thinking. Okay, good. Nothing really exciting going on lately.
No.
No. I interviewed for a new job. That was exciting.
Tell me again what this job is.
It was for a counseling position at the Villa.
Okay.
It was good. During the interview, she I had like a panic attack, like halfway through. And like seriously, I started like shaking and it stopped in that moment. I was like, I could hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
And it was like, and it was weird because it didn't happen in the beginning. It kind of happened in the middle when she started like asking me questions.
Was I nervous?
Oh my God!
Do you
Like,
think she was aware of it, or was
I
it
don't
more
know.
you being aware of it?
I think I was aware of it. I don't know if she. I don't know. I felt like during that moment, and even now, like, how could somebody not notice that I was like, but I held it together, and actually at the end, she told me that I did really well, and I'm very qualified for the position, and she really wanted to even set up because she has to do like an observation. I have to do an observation.
Oh, okay.
So she wants to set that up, but she said that she had to see the 5 other people that she had for interviews that week. So she's going to give me a call next week to set up an observation. But it seems like my job now and going into that position would be like so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And she said like a lot of the things that I do now kind of relate to what I would do, but I do more doing like the clinical part of it.
Right.
So that was really that was a definite positive of it. I felt like it'd be easy to get back into it and kind of. I mean, yeah, they'd have to show me how to do things, but I don't know. I just felt like I could swing into it pretty fast.
That's good. It sounds like it was a positive interview for you, and you felt pretty confident out of it.
Yeah, I definitely was. I walked out and I jumped up and down when I got outside. But I looked around and I was like,
Wasn't anybody watching me?
I totally did though. And I
Yeah.
got in my car and I just smiled at myself and I was very confident that I did very well.
Yeah. Good. You'd be working with, continue to work with at-risk youth.
Yeah, I'd be more of the kids that are like living in residential, which is like so weird from where I've been working because all up until now it's been like keeping them out of residential.
Right. Community based.
Yeah, yeah. So it was really hard to kind of ask, or because she did ask me that, she's like, well, why do you want to do residential? Because everything you've done up until this point kind of really hasn't been that, and now you're switching to the opposite end of the spectrum. And I don't know, I kind of breezed my way through that question. I was like, well, just because they're in residential doesn't mean that they're there for the rest of their life,
Right.
and they're going to need community connections when they get out. And they're going to need that support and all that. So it was actually it was awesome. I was quite proud of myself. But I hope that I get the position.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
Sounds like you're ready to kind of move on to the next chapter and get your licensure. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's unfortunate that I haven't started that process up until now, but I just haven't had a place where I can get my licensure,
Right.
and that's the number one thing on my mind every single day. Number one, how many pay back all these student loans without having a clinician position, and also just it bothers me that I'm not using my degree because I really want to be using it. Like I don't know, I had that other interview at Genesee Mental Health, and although I didn't get it, I never really. I probably should have called her back to like follow up and see if I got the position, whatever. But I kind of walked out of that interview very not confident. Like the way that she was asking me questions and kept prompting me, I felt like she wanted me to give her something that I could screw up on or something.
Right.
I don't know. It was weird. I walked out of that interview and I was like, I walked back to my car and in the parking garage and I was like, ugh, like I didn't even like it. I don't even know if they called me that I would take the position. Otherwise, I mean, I probably would have get my license now.
Right.
But I really wouldn't have liked it. I don't know.
It sounds like this position is more up your alley, what you want to do, what you've kind of been doing. You've been working with at risk speaking at adolescents for a long time. And your current job, which you change all the time, you're almost you work with the kids prior to going to residential. So
Right.
I think that this actually you have a lot of really good experience. And you know the process of these kids going through the trials.
Right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
gives you a really, really good perspective on how they got there, why they
Yeah.
got there.
And actually, that was one of the questions that she asked me. That reminds me what you just said. One of the questions she asked me was, you know, what's one of the things that just takes you off, and what do you think would be the hard barrier? And I was like, honestly, knowing that kids going down that path, knowing that they're going to end up in residential, it hits my heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sucks to know that that's kind of where they're going. So what you just said, honestly, that reminded me during the interview. I said that to her, and she was like, that's a very good answer to that question because you've been there and you've seen it the whole time, and you don't want them to end up in residential. And the kids just don't care, and it sucks. But it is very hard, and I'm very self-aware when I'm getting to that point, telling them, not trying to give them a lecture, but also letting them know, like, hey man, like, this is where you're heading, and I know you don't care, but once you're at that placement,
You'll care.
You'll totally care, like when you can brush your teeth, or when you can shower and wash your clothes and stuff, like, I don't know, that was one of the things that you did mention. So,
when you think about the connection you'll make with, if you get this position, the connection you'll make with those kids because you know what they went through to get where they're at.
Yeah.
You're working with kids that are kind of almost in that process. You're trying to prevent it, and you'll have such an amazing understanding of what they've been through. That probably a lot of people that or counselors, whoever they're working with, there don't get, right? They haven't seen that process.
Right. They probably just think of them as bad kids.
Right. And you've actually seen the process from start to finish and how they got there.
Yeah. Yeah, and regardless of if they're bad kids, I think of it as all very cultural. Mm-hmm. Very, what they grew up with, how they grew up, if they were raised by mom and dad. I think their environment is a very good determining factor for, all of those types of behaviors and going into residential. And yeah, I actually didn't think of that. I wish I would have mentioned that in the interview, saying something like, I know where they've been because they have to start at my job in order to be placed somewhere. I actually wish I would have said something like that, but I think she got that. She knows that. But I wish I would have mentioned something like that because it's very true as compared to other people that might be there. They're just thinking of them as bad kids. Right. Well, they're not bad kids. They've just been brought up a different way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's very true. I've never really seen it as that way.
That's exciting. When will you find out?
Probably next week sometime. She said between Monday and Wednesday. She had one more interview on Monday, and then she was going to be making her phone calls. She would call 2 people for observation, and then from observation, I guess observation is where you go into the cottage and you're working with the kids and you're just kind of seeing the environment and stuff. So
kind of how you interact with them, maybe. And
yeah, and I know that I have a very good relationship with kids, so I can interact with them often. Right. I know that if I get an observation, I can rock that because I've worked with that population now for how long, so I know I can rock that part of it. So if I do get an observation, I know that I could potentially
be very confident in it.
Yeah, and I think it's good to be confident. Even walking into that interview, I was so confident, and I think that eased my nerves in the beginning, but then halfway through, I was like, literally
But it sounds like you worked through it, though. I mean, it sounds like it was more you being aware of it, freaking out, what do I do? But I mean, it sounds like you did great.
Yeah. I noticed that I remember vaguely this one part of it where I looked up and I was talking to her obviously the whole time, and I noticed when I was talking, my voice literally not stuttering. It was I could notice in my voice the pitch change, and that's when I started like using my hands and stuff. Like even right now, I'm really busy on using my hands. But I did. I started using my hands more, and I think that like calmed me down.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I always have like a rubber band on my hand, so I had a rubber band and I was playing with that. But helps to ease my anxiety. Yeah, so I like used some of those techniques, and it really did. It calmed me down. But then it was rough for a minute there. I almost asked. I was like, "Can I like step out and get a drink?" Because honestly, like I could hear it in myself, and I was like, But I know by the end she was like, "Jessica, you like rocked this interview. You can walk out of this feeling very confident." So it's pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, hopefully you'll get it. Hopefully next time we meet, you'll have some good news.
Yeah, I think I'm very hopeful that I will. Definitely. Yeah.
Do you have any plans for if you don't get it, or you're continuing to apply? I know.
Yeah, I'm still applying. I'm still seeing what's out there. But I want to really. I don't want to be upset with myself if I don't get this next week. If I don't get a call back, then I don't get a call back.
Is she gonna call you either way?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She said that she would call either way, yes or no. Yeah. So, I'm not trying to make myself feel so confident that if it actually does come and she says no, I don't want to be
disappointed.
Yeah. But I think it's gonna be really hard not to be disappointed. Because I am really excited for this.
Sounds like you really want this position. It's definitely up your alley.
For sure.
What you've been doing, essentially.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I don't want to be disappointed. But yeah, I am still applying for jobs. I didn't want to like do too many at one time because I don't want to have like interview after interview after interview and then get phone calls from 3 different people and then be like, oh, who do I pick? Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I kind of like I stopped for a little while. I'll get back into it if I don't hear anything next week.
Well, it sounds like you're picking and choosing positions that are really good fit for you.
Yeah.
I think it's important. You don't want to just step into, a job that you're going to end up hating and you're going to have to stay there for an X amount of time to get a relationship.
Right. Yeah, no, for my licensure especially, because I do need to get those hours, and I don't want to keep, waiting around, and then I'm getting further and further away from what I learned in school, and I have to take a test, so, yeah.
Sorry, issues with computer
issues. Yeah, but I really want to get my licensure hours because ultimately I want to have my own practice. I know it takes time because you have to like build up your clientele and all that, but that's my ultimate goal is to, kind of do my own thing and, I don't know how I'm going to do that. That's going to be another issue, but I'll figure it out along the way.
Baby steps though, right? I mean,
Yeah, and I do have good connections where I can ask if I need advice or whatever. I do have, like professors and things that have done the same thing.
Right.
They've gone through it too, so I could definitely look to them for help if they need to do it. Yeah.
So that you have that support system.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's good though. Just works. Yeah. Kind of whatever. I hate my job now though. Yeah. Quite I mean, obviously I'm looking for my licensure hours, but just like, I guess I don't hate it. Hate's a really strong word, and I don't like saying hate, but I just don't, I don't know. I feel like I want to be using my degree, and because I'm not using my degree, I'm getting bored.
Frustrated, you're getting bored.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of the same thing over and over and over, and I want to be, I feel like that's why I have my graduate degree, is not be doing the same thing over and over and over. But counseling, I mean, that's what you do.
Right.
You talk, you don't ever experience the same thing 2 times. So I don't want to I don't know. I feel like I'm repetitive right now. I'll figure it out for sure, definitely. But it's just gonna take some time. I'll be more patient.
Yeah. It's tough. You put all that work in to getting your master's, and now you're kind of in almost a limbo situation because you want so badly to get a job and get a licensure. But,
yeah.
I mean, obviously it takes time. can, nobody's going to hand you a job.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably important for you to utilize what you're currently doing and how you can apply it to a passing condition. Instead of getting frustrated before, think of ways that you can really utilize what you're learning and what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's frustrating, but you have a job.
Which is important. Yeah. And I think that with this job, yes, I will say that that is one of the very good positives of it is obtaining community connections and stuff. Yeah, that is the ultimate best thing. Like somebody could mention. I remember the other day I was in like the supermarket and people were talking about like I don't know some JCC, which is a juvenile center. Where we used to send guys there from the jail when I worked there, when I was my internship there. We used to send them there to get like an advocate or somebody to work with them to get a birth certificate or whatever. And people were talking about it in the supermarket and like, where do I go? And I was just like, I know where you go. And like, I don't know, it was just so weird that in that moment, in every moment, people be talking about that kind of stuff. And I'll be like, I know what that is. Here, I'll help you. So it's really cool that I have gained so much knowledge about the community.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do if I ever moved out of this community because I know so much about it. I know that would be really hard because I do know so much about where we're, Rochester and all the connections and people that can help in Rochester. Yeah, it's cool though.
Yeah. Anything else going on that's not related to work or?
Not really. No. No, I kind of hate my roommate. But besides that,
You hate your roommate.
yeah. She's annoying. Yeah. I'm getting through it though. We talked about that last time. Like, whatever. We're getting through it. We're working on talking more and all that. She's just never here at home.
Right.
She's never home and doesn't know to do anything around the house. It just annoys the hell out of me. Yeah, it's very frustrating. But actually, like last week, she started to like clean up after herself. She even did my dishes.
Nice.
2 times. 2 times. Right? So I think she's getting it, that I'm getting really frustrated, and I think she's understanding more. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
Okay. Thanks, dude.